Hello बच्चों, let's see the question. Which one of the following statements is wrong? So out of these four statements, we have to pick the incorrect statement. So let's see the statements one by one. First is, when pollen is shed at two-celled stage, double fertilization does not take place. So let's see this statement. Pollen grain at its two-celled stage. If you draw the diagram, then this is the pollen grain. It is having two coverings. The outer one is called exine. So this covering is made of a very hard substance called sporopollenin, and the inner covering is called intine. So exine is made of sporopollenin and intine is made of cellulose and pectin. Now the pollen grain is released from anther at two-celled stage in most of the angiosperm. Then it has a smaller cell. This smaller cell is called generative cell and its function is to produce male gametes. And this larger cell with an irregular nucleus is called vegetative cell or tube cell, and its function is to produce pollen tube. So when a pollen grain at its two-celled stage reaches on stigma, so this is the female part of a flower pistil. So when a pollen grain at its two-celled stage reaches on stigma, then if this pollen grain is compatible or it gets selected during pollen pistil interaction, then a pollen tube comes out of the pollen grain. Generative cell comes in this pollen tube and it divides to form the male gametes. This pollen tube grows further and enters the embryo sac where fertilization occurs. So even when the pollen grains are shed at two-celled stage, means released from anther at two-celled stage, double fertilization occurs. So here it is given that it does not take place, but it occurs in most of the angiosperm. So this statement is incorrect. So option number A is the right answer. But if we see further, then vegetative cell is larger than generative cell. You can see here that generative cell is smaller in size and the vegetative cell is larger in size. So this statement is correct, as vegetative cell is larger in size than generative cell. Third option is, pollen grain in some plants remain viable for months. So viability of a pollen grains means its ability to germinate. So in some plants, like in case of members of Solanaceae family or potato family, in case of Rosaceae family, and in case of leguminous plants, pollen grains retain the ability to germinate on stigma for months. So this statement is also correct. And the fourth statement is, intine is made of cellulose and pectins. So I wrote it here that intine is made of cellulose and pectin. So this is also a right statement. So only incorrect or wrong statement here is option A. So option A is our right answer. All the best, bachcho.